everyone, it's Jack and a very, very injured Sam from Cultaholic.com. What happened to you there earlier today?
I was just really in the mood for some really deathmatchy, ultra-violent, you know.
Yeah.
And I picked up a knife and thought it had a cover on it. It didn't. Oh, it's my new lovely sharp knife. I'm not going to show it too long.
Yep, there we go. So, hope you're doing better than Sam is. We will be doing our live stream later on at 12 a.m. UK time. That's over at youtube.com/cultaholic/live for our live reactions to NXT TakeOver Portland. But first, we do have some lovely news to talk about. First of all, John Cena's opponent for WrestleMania 36 has reportedly been revealed. Next up, we have several debuts and returns to talk about over some recent NXT shows. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about MVP's new role in WWE. So, first of all, yes, let's talk about WrestleMania 36, which is looming large on the horizon. We are hurtling down the road to WrestleMania. And now on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer was talking about potentially knowing who John Cena's opponent is. He directly said, this is a quote from Meltzer, "It's not like I don't believe it, because I know it's probably true, but I can't believe it, put it that way. It's so underwhelming, it's ridiculous, and absolutely confusing, and makes no sense." And Alvarez then replied and said, "By the sounds of it, it sounds like you're talking about either King Corbin or Elias." And Meltzer went, "Yep, it's meant to be Elias." Now, I immediately felt sorry upon hearing this for Elias because it's not his fault that it's underwhelming.
Well, first off, I think this is lies because there's not enough and ahhing in there for that to be melted.
Yes,
but
of course.
I think, that's an unfair assessment there from Big Dave.
It's not Elias's fault.
No.
But I understand that when you bring someone of the size of John Cena into WrestleMania, you want them to have a big opponent as well.
Yeah.
It's a similar sort of feeling we had when Kurt Angle's last match was against Baron Corbin. Not because it's Corbin's fault, just because it's Kurt Angle's last match, it should be against a fellow massive star.
Yeah.
And I understand, but it does have some storyline seeds planted in there because, of course, last year John Cena came back as the Doctor of Thugonomics to cut off Elias and humiliate him in front of the world, and now maybe Elias will want revenge. This could all play out, of course, because Cena is returning to SmackDown pretty soon.
And Elias has been having a little bit of a good run.
Yeah.
He's always been coming out on top recently.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. They'll probably set it up as some sort of battle of the band segment rather than a match.
Do you think?
It'll quickly turn into a match. It'll be like.
Oh, is this on SmackDown rather than on WrestleMania?
No, I think that might be the Mania situation. It might turn into like a promo battle between the pair that quickly turns into a match. Sort of like the Rock at 32.
That makes quite a lot
of sense. The Wyatt family.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm torn because on one hand, I totally understand where they're coming from saying that it's underwhelming because it's Elias. Yeah. But on the other hand, it's a huge opportunity for Elias. It is, it's massive.
It's a massive spot to get a new star over. So I think Dave's being a little bit unfair in his assessment there.
Harsh.
I think that Elias deserves this.
He's a charismatic dude.
He deserves like a shot at this level. He should have it.
How else are you going to elevate stars without giving them shots against bigger people?
You're going to bring Cena back and make him wrestle Rock, CM Punk, Austin, Hogan. Like, you're just going to keep throwing money at people till they can't stand up.
I agree, but we'll see. We'll see as it develops. We'll see how true the story is, and if it is, I guess we'll gauge the reaction from there. Now, several NXT debuts and returns to talk about over various house shows recently. So, let's go to the Tampa show on Friday, where Tino Sabbatelli made his return after being away since May 2018 with a torn pectoral muscle. Great to see him back. He apparently didn't have a match, but came out and cut a heel promo.
Okay.
And of course, I guess he'll be in a bit of a different situation now because back then he was teaming with Riddick Moss, who is now on the main roster or on Raw, alongside Mojo Rawley, who he betrayed and stole the 24/7 title from.
Wow.
So I know. So Tino might be, I guess, undergoing a bit of a transformation and doing a bit of a singles run now. But it is always great to see someone back after so long on the sidelines. On the same show, and I'm very excited about this one, former WWN champion JD Drake. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Drake...
Is he related to HT Drake?
He's not, unfortunately, related to HT Drake.
They both have two initials and the surname Drake.
And now,
how are they related?
Remember that Evolve show that WWE ran on the network?
Yes.
JD Drake took on Austin...
They don't own the indies, by the way.
JD Drake took on Austin Theory in that in a match on that show, which he lost. He lost to Austin Theory, but it was a really good match. It was probably the best match on the show, and everyone was really impressed with both guys. Austin Theory, because he's like groomed to be a star. He looks like a star. He's really young. But JD Drake's the very opposite. He's kind of a bigger, older, kind of a throwback kind of NWA style guy.
Right.
Really good to watch, either as a heel or as a babyface.
Just so happens the NWA is back now.
It does, yeah.
nice spots there.
But he has turned up on NXT and he defeated none other than former Raw commentator Dio Madden, who now wants to be a wrestler again.
Yeah, Dio Madden sort of, I think he was wrestling training and then he went over to commentary. I don't know if that was due to like an injury or something, but he sort of had like maybe a 12-month stint into commentary.
Yes.
And then now he's back to training.
I think he decided he wanted to wrestle again and they wrote him off with the Lesnar angle where
he was brutally gunned down by the F5.
Yes, and then on yesterday's show in Fort Pierce, this one shocked me. We've been wiggity worked. We've been worked.
This one, I'm happy though. I'm really happy.
Right. Tanara Conti of the women's division made her return after reportedly walking out of the company a few weeks ago over a financial dispute. But it seems like either that's been resolved and they've turned it into a storyline, or it was a storyline all along. She was wearing a t-shirt that said released on it. We've seen various angles in the past where it's followed a similar trend of a wrestler walking out of a promotion and then coming back. The most famous one being CM Punk.
Yeah.
Also, Kevin Owens, when he was Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor, did a very effective one. And if it's done right, it can really work and it can really give a massive boost to the wrestler in question. So
yeah, hugely.
I feel like with Condi as well, she's the sort of person who really needed something to get her teeth into because she was kind of just floating about.
Yeah, they had the multi-sport athlete thing with her, but like they're just hiring multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
So there's not really a lot that you can do with that when everybody's a multi-sport athlete.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think even though you might say that it's a bit of a cliched angle to run, I think that it could work because in what is a very competitive women's division, everyone needs a bit of an edge or something to get them more over. So I think this could work out well for her. There was also on that show an in-ring debut for Jorge Bolli, better known to Lucha Underground fans as King Cuerno, who was one of my personal favourite guys, and also as, what was his name? Not El Hijo de Fantasma, that's the one.
Big Querny in WCPW.
And Big Querny, no, we never had it. He signed with WWE towards the tail end of last year, in sort of like August last year. I'll check the notes. It was August last year.
It was August.
I don't know why I guessed. But his debut was postponed thanks to a knee injury. But thankfully, he's fine now and looks to be ready to make a bit of an impact on NXT. I'm really excited for this one because I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he can do.
He teamed with Raul Mendoza and picked up a victory over Sam Stoker and Lewis Howley in a tag match. So I'm really excited with pretty much all of these debuts and returns.
It feels like some lovely new blood is like flooding into NXT.
Yeah.
And it always needs that injection because NXT sort of seems to peak and trough and peak and trough.
Yes.
The peak keeps getting bigger each time.
Yeah.
But there's always that down period, and this is like hopefully going to keep that going uphill.
Yeah, they're really good at everyone always says, how are they ever going to top that previous class who all left? And even though now maybe people won't be leaving as much because NXT is not the clear third brand anymore, I still think that they're really good at always elevating new stars. Next up, let's talk about MVP's new role in the company. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter,
What's he doing, Jack?
He's going backstage, Sam.
Oh.
Not for a brawl, but for a producer role. On the Observer,
Not for a brawl, but for a producer role.
Meltzer wrote, MVP is being transitioned into a producer role. The segment on Raw was not necessarily meant to be a regular thing. That's where Drew McIntyre came out and claymored him over the sofa. That was really good. But he was so good in the role that since he's going to be working for the company most likely, it's something they can use whenever they need it. So, according to Meltzer here, he's being transitioned into a full-time backstage producer role.
But if they ever need that slot, he can do it,
He's a very charismatic guy.
Yeah.
He did really well in that segment with Drew, and he bumped like a boss over the back of that couch.
I think it makes sense. The guy's been around for so long. And I
Yes.
think he still has a lot to give back to the industry, so this is a great little transition.
I'd agree with that as well. And finally, let's talk about the bane of my existence and everyone's favourite wrestler.
Well, you keep putting him top of the list, Jack.
No.
Giving him all the points just because he's English.
This year, Ospreay.
Just because he's your pal.
This year, Ospreay's not
Just 'cause
top.
he kicked you in the mouth.
He's not top, right? We're talking about Will Ospreay. Now, I won't spoil the result, but he recently had a very big match in Rev Pro against Zack Sabre Jr. for the British Heavyweight Championship, and he kind of tweeted about that, but also in a separate way talked about his New Japan career as well. So I've heard reports, I've not watched it yet, that match was absolutely superb, so check that out.
Great.
But separate from that, we're going to talk about what he said about his New Japan status. So he said he will now officially be making the jump, leaving the junior division, and now competing against the heavyweights. What do you think about that? Yeah, exciting?
Oh, think of the matchups.
I know.
Think of the matchup.
We saw a little taste of it last year in the G1 Climax because he was, obviously that's mainly populated by heavyweights. I know. It's going to be amazing. Now, I'm thinking it is really good and it's obviously a necessary step in the development of his New Japan career.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yes, he's evolved his style, but Ospreay is still one of the best high flyers in the world of wrestling.
100%.
He can just do crazy
There's
things.
nothing that stops you being a high flyer just because you're in the heavyweight class.
Right,
So-
okay, yeah, that's fair enough. So even though he won't be getting matched up, I guess, against guys as naturally high-flying as him,
Yeah.
he will be matched up against guys who he can still use that high-flying
He's going to be
against.
matched up against guys that can't do quadruple front flips. And so he will always look better.
Although in fairness, he has sort of been scaling back that. He's been sort of becoming a more well-rounded wrestler, I think,
Yeah.
as well. And he's really starting to, you can tell that the mentorship of Okada is really rubbing off on him because he's putting together these really epic matches with incredible sequences and back and forth. And it's not always, I guess it's not always centered around high flying.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
excited
sort
to
of-
see
He's
what comes
learning a
next.
lot more about structure and storytelling. It's great.
Yeah, it is great. I'm really worried because I'm going to have to give him more points. He's going to have
You're
some
just
great
going to
matches.
have to make Ospreay of the Week its own series.
No, people have been tweeting me saying this, and I don't want to do that.
His best moment of the week. And you can award Ospreay points on the league table, and he's sort of outside of Wrestlers of the Week.
He just wins separately.
Yeah, he has Ospreay of the Year every year.
I will point out, if you've been following along with this year's series, he's not actually top. Yes, he's been picking up some points here. No, don't say that. Don't say that at all. He's been doing all right. But I'm really excited, seriously, though, to see this transition to the heavyweight division. I think he'll kill it. He's really good at the wrestling. He's one of the best in the world today. That was the news. I don't know how else to close it.
So it's the news. We're doing a stream, of course.
We're doing a stream. Once again, that link is youtube.com/cultaholic/live if you want to watch along with us as we watch NXT TakeOver Portland, which looks like it's going to be a really good show.
It's going to be a hell of a show.
See you there.
Tatty bye.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments section down below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter @Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us.